Hi, my name is Jackie Lee Price and welcome to Shadowboxruk. So hi and welcome to the Silent Assassin, Savannah Marshall, WBA Intercontinental title holder, 2 times Olympian. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks, Jackie. Thanks for having me on Shadowboxruk.
It's good to see you. It's good to see you. So yeah, how is the family doing under these circumstances?
Well, I'm like north. I'm like from the northeast, so it's not very populated in my area anyway. Not like London or Manchester. So I am in a little town, so it hasn't really been hit as big as the cities. But everyone's okay. Everyone's okay and safe.
No, that's good to hear.
Good.
So what have you been doing with your time then?
Well, I would have been fighting today.
I was going to say, so today was, for the viewers that don't know, today was your light heavyweight title bid, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. So it's a bit of a sickener.
Yes.
But, the thing is, everyone's in the same boat, so I don't feel half as bad. If it was just my bout, if it was just my fight had been cancelled, I'd be fuming. I'd be one angry woman.
Yeah. So what have you been doing to sort of, I suppose, take your mind off that? Because, you know, it feels like you've just started to make a momentum in your career, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, what? This has happened. And like you say, I know it's happened to everybody, but yeah.
Well, it's just typical Savannah Marshall. Especially my pro career has been so slow. It just feels like I just finally get somewhere, and then it's stop start. So it couldn't have went. It would never have went smoothly anyway. But to be honest, I'm training wise. I'm just saying that this would have been fight week, so I wouldn't have been doing much anyway. So all I have been doing training wise is running. I've seen a lot of people go mad doing circuits and bag work every day, but really we don't know how long this is going to go on for. And I'm one of the lucky ones, so my date got postponed until June the 27th. So really I'm still 12 weeks out, 13 weeks out. So, you know, I don't want to kill myself off and start, training, hammer and tongs. So I've just been running really and just keeping my mind clear.
I mean, you, like you say, you're one of the lucky ones that you've got a date for, your, what's the word I'm looking for your postpone. It's been postponed basically. Yeah. But how feasible is that for you to be fighting fit? And I've asked a couple of people this because I've spoken to a couple of the boys that they've had fights that were coming up either, you know, in the next couple of weeks or whatever. How feasible is it though for you to be actually fighting fit, you know, at fight level fit? Because, you know, we all know there's fitness and then there's ring fitness.
Yeah, so 2 seconds. So really, shut up. Sorry. So really, I only found out 2 weeks ago, so I'm fight fit now anyway. So sorry. So really, for me, it's just about keeping on top of that. But like I said, you don't know how long this is going to go on for. So even sparring wise, like I can't really set myself a date for sparring because obviously we could still be in isolation.
Yeah. Or semi isolation, you know. It's like I don't think it's going to be a smooth ride out, is it? But at least you're one of the lucky ones. You've got something to look forward to.
2 seconds.
Yeah. So I was saying you're actually one of the lucky ones though, aren't you? Because are you in your bedroom now as well?
Yeah.
So yeah, you're one of the lucky ones. At least you know you have a potential fight that is a career-making fight though. So I'm sure that sort of keeps you positive.
Yeah, definitely. Like you just said there, I've got a date, so I've got something to work towards. Whether or not it's going to happen, that's a totally different story. But I can't leave that to chance.
Yeah.
You know, I can't wait a couple of weeks before and think, oh, it is happening. I've got to still train as if it is happening. So, like I said, I've got 12 weeks. So, come 10 weeks, I'll start training twice a day, and then 8 weeks of where the hard work will start again.
So do you have a more of an appreciation of the smaller things in life now that we're all isolated? You know, you're not full hammer and tongs on the training. Have you got a new appreciation for something that you kind of took for granted before now?
Oh, definitely. I went through a bit of a tough time at Christmas time with me health anyway. So that put it in perspective that boxing's not the be all and end all of life. So I've kind of saying kind of a little bit prepared for this type of thing. Like, I know boxing's not my whole life, and I've got other things going for me. And I think this has helped me, you know, not take me fight getting postponed so hard.
Yeah, yeah. And do you want to talk about your illness, or would you rather keep that to yourself?
Well, yeah, and basically what it was, I was really poorly. I was in hospital. We thought I had suspect bacterial meningitis.
Oh wow!
So I was really poorly, and then they'd give me a lumbar puncture, which really knackered me up. I couldn't walk. I couldn't sit up, and I was just bedbound for a good couple of weeks. And obviously, I'm really active person. It just made me realise, like, you know, there's more to life than boxing. Even just being able to walk about and do the day-to-day things.
Yeah, like you say, just the small things that make you go, gosh, yeah, my life isn't actually that bad. I'm glad you're on the road to recovery. And what is even more amazing is that, you know, a few months ago you're ill, and then all of a sudden you're here back ready for a title bid. I mean, that is really inspiring, to be honest with you.
Well, I was originally meant to fight in back end of February on Terry Harper's bill.
Yeah.
And just coming back from that illness, obviously I told my coach Peter, and he was like, "What do you want to do? Just do you want to fight?" And I went, "Look, I'll take the fight, but let's just see how I am getting closer and closer to the fight." And luckily, Matchroom had said, "Oh, look, we want her in a bigger fight in April anyway." So that, you know, kind of worked out better for me.
I think
I wouldn't have been ready to fight in February at all.
I think also it's probably worked out well for you as well, Savannah, because you know how this game is. People will say, oh, she pulled out. And then there's the whole sort of rumours that may or may not have flown about. So, you know, like you say, you're now in a better position. Regardless of when this is going to be, you're still in a really great position, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So I was thinking that, you know, the 2020 Olympics, obviously you're a two-time Olympian. They've been postponed. You know, can you imagine what those guys must be thinking and feeling at this moment in time?
Well, I was only having this conversation with my dad the other day because I actually got asked to stay for 2020 after the Rio Olympics. And I just totally fell out of love with the sport at the time. So I was like, no, I'm not happy. I don't want to. But I said to my dad, can you imagine if I would have stayed another 4 years for it to get postponed another year? Because it's a long, long time. So I couldn't imagine what they all going through on that squad.
I can't imagine what you would have done to your dad as well.
Yeah.
And was it that boxing that you'd fallen out of love with, or amateur boxing?
Well, at the time, I wasn't really interested in the pro boxing. I never watched it. Or anything like that. I just totally fell out of love with the whole amateur scene. I'd been an international boxer since I was 17. So I'd been on the program for 10 years, and it just got to the point where it was the same results. You know, there was just some boxers out there that you'd have to smash them over the head with a sledgehammer to get the result. I just learned that I come out on the side of a few really bad political decisions, and it really put me off.
Yeah, I can imagine. I remember meeting you in 2008, and one of the things obviously that people are starting to get to know about you is you're very shy. But what really struck me about you was you didn't seem comfortable in the limelight, whereas others sort of crave it. You don't seem comfortable in the limelight. Do you think that that's something that's, I wouldn't say hindered you, but sort of it's played a part in your journey?
Oh, definitely, especially in my amateur career. But I learned fast in the pros that it's not just about the boxing. The pros is a business, and you could be the best boxer in the world, but if no one knows who you are, it's pointless, because you're not going to earn no money. You're not going to get the recognition for how good of a boxer you are. Mm. So it kind of made me bring me out my shell fast, really.
And how comfortable or uncomfortable is that for you?
I'm getting better. As it's going on, I'm getting better. I've just learned it's just part and parcel of it now, and it's something you've got to do. Like I said, if no one knows who you are, there's no point in doing it.
Yeah, that's true. And one thing, though, that I think that is quite obvious in the pro scene, and I will say this because, you know, like you're saying, in the amateur scene, we in the amateur scene know who you are. No one, we didn't really care about the pro scene, if we're honest. And then all of a sudden, it's kind of like, well, you have to shout louder than those that are shouting, because people presume if you're shouting loud, you're talented. Do you not think?
Yeah, 100%. There's boxers out there that, you know, no offense to them, but, you know, couldn't even.
I knew that
the amateurs couldn't even get out of their, you know, their regionals, and they're shouting from the rooftops. They're all over on social media, and even now they probably wouldn't win a regional pro title. But because people who know who they are and people are interested in their story, they sell tickets and they're making money and they're getting on the big shows.
So yeah, I'm really glad that you've brought that up, Savannah, because firstly, I think people think that if someone calls that out, they're being sour, you know, they've got a case of sour grapes, and actually I don't think that's true at all. Real boxing people know the difference between a prospect and a real prospect. I come from obviously a background of coaching, so I know the difference. And so sometimes it's really hard to kind of, yeah, it's just, I'm polite and I have to do my job, and I kind of have to take the coach's head off. I think that's what I'm trying to say. But I am seeing you and Chantel really sort of having to battle, but really have the talent, haven't you? Both of you got the talent.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, pro boxing is a business. It really is a business, and, you know, like I said, I understand where you're coming from, the whole sour grapes thing, but people who, like I said, who know they're not the best boxers of the world, but they're doing everything to get themselves at the top and in the spotlight, so fair play to them.
And in terms of that, so you kind of know that this is the game, as you know, it's part and parcel of the game. What are you doing to sort of heighten your profile? Because I've heard you say that you're not as high profile as other fighters, which I find as a you know, someone in the industry, I'm kind of like, that's untrue, because you are Savannah Marshall, you know what you've achieved in the sport, but I also get what you're saying. So yeah, it's crazy. But what else are you doing apart from obviously Instagram? What else have you been doing to sort of, you know, buffer up that profile?
So I've got quite a good, you know, PR team that I work with at the minute. So whenever they're sending interviews my way, I jump at them, where before I'd be like, oh no, I'm busy. But whereas now I jump at them. Also, I'm not one to. I always make myself cringe, so I'm not one to put myself, I don't know, hitting the bags or stuff like that, because I'll watch it think, what am I doing there? Look at that jab. whereas people just do it and put it on. So every now and again, I'll just shut my eyes and upload a video of me doing something. But like I said, I'm quite shy in nature anyway, so I'm not the type to, you know, put all the sexy photos of me on Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. So you know, I'm just doing what I can, to be fair, keep myself in the limelight, really.
To be honest, I think your talent surpasses putting yourself in a bikini on on Instagram.
Yeah.
So let's you know, go back a little bit. You last fought Claressa Shields, because I've got to mention her. You last fought you know, 7 years ago, was it, in the amateurs? You beat her.
Yeah, it was
you beat her comfortably, and you know, fast forward now, we're into the pro scene. You say you could beat her. So I'm playing devil's advocate here. You say you could beat her. She's saying, on the other hand, you haven't improved. You know, what would you come back with?
She hasn't improved. She's still boxing exactly the same as what she did when I boxed her. Fair play to Claressa. She's done a lot for women's boxing, and I am a fan. But I do believe even now, 7 years on, I'm still smarter. Don't get me wrong, I can't match her for speed, but I match her in technique and in brain power. Yeah, that's all I need, really.
You can definitely match her in brain power and those powerful, juicy jabs and body shots. I mean, you've got some power punches on your kid, haven't you?
Yeah, power.
So, you know, has there been any discussion around that, or is it still a bit sort of, we on the social media, etc., we're all trying to hype it up, but has there ever been any discussions around it?
Yeah, so Claressa's team actually offered me the fight about a year and a half ago. And going back to the whole point, pro boxing's a business, and I could have took that fight then and been offered a couple of grand. Whereas the advice from Peter was, right, I want you to win a world title so you've got more to bargain with. Because realistically, once I fight Claressa, where's the left for me to go? So when I fight Claressa, because I believe that fight will happen, I want to be in the best possible financial position that I can be in. I haven't got 2 Olympic medals, and what I have got going into the pro boxing is that I've got to win over the undisputed middleweight champion. So even if it means shouting it from the rooftops, I will.
To be honest with you, I think that was the perfect piece of advice that he gave you, because you're absolutely right. Yeah. You would have almost been coming in as the journey woman, wouldn't you, really?
Yeah, definitely.
Which is not a place for Savannah Marshall.
Yeah.
So let's say you started, you going back a bit, you started your career, didn't you, with Mayweather Promotions. You had your first bout, on a massive bout, or card, I should say, in Las Vegas, the Lomachenko Campbell, wasn't it? Yes. Firstly, talk me through, what is it like to be around Floyd Mayweather?
Well, to be honest, I met him once.
Oh.
I only ever met him once. I think anyone who's part of Floyd's team would say he's a very hard man to get hold of. Very hard man to get hold of. So I only ever crossed paths with him once.
Because I imagined you two in a room and him just talking and you saying nothing. Literally.
I remember being in the change room with him, and he was just getting his head shaved, and everyone was just sat round silent, watching him get his head shaved. It was really bizarre.
That is bizarre.
Yeah.
I just think like you two got such massively different personalities as well. It's like, all right, it's almost like when he's on stage, as it is, like, I guess everyone just has to step back and, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
And then you sort of you parted from them and you came back to the UK. Were you homesick, or what was it that made you come home?
No, so I basically was in America for 6 months, training out there, training hard, and while I was there, I trained for 2 or 3 fights, and all 3 of them fell through. So I learned quite quickly about what the whole professional game is about. I learned that, you know, it can be full of broken promises. Things really can easily be taken from you, stuff like that. So it just wasn't really financially right for me to be there. I didn't make no money while I was there. So Mayweather Promotions released me, and I come back to the UK. But I think that was a good year. So I had my debut, and I never boxed again for another year. So like I said before, my pro career has been very stop-start. Yeah.
And how does that feel, though, in terms of, so you look at your counterparts and there are, you know, people that were on the GB team with you, there were other Olympians that they seem to be moving at a faster pace than you. You know, how does that feel to see them sort of, you know, racing ahead?
It can be a struggle sometimes, and you know, I do get a little bit of green eye, but it's just the way it is. There's nothing I can do about it apart from keep training hard and trying to get to where I want to be.
Nice and honest, I like that. And then you hook up with Peter Fury. What made you choose him?
Well, it was a bit of a weird story, to be honest. So Peter actually trained me for my debut. So before I went to America, a mutual friend of ours, I'd never met Peter before, I was saying, oh look, I've still got an amateur coach, I'm meant to be boxing my pro debut, but I've never actually trained with a pro coach. So this mutual friend of ours had said, oh, well, I'm in Peter's gym at the minute. He said you're more than welcome to come along, and he'll show you a couple of things. So I did a good 6-week camp with Peter before me debut. Obviously went to America, and when it didn't work out, straight away I rang Peter and I was like, oh Peter, can I come back? Will you train me? And he was like, yeah, I'll train you. So I've been with Peter ever since.
Did he make you go through jump through hoops to get back in with him?
No, not really, but bizarrely, before I even went to America, I just remember him kept saying, oh, it's not gonna be all sunshine and roses. You know, it's not going to be how you think it's going to be. And at the time I was thinking, yeah, stop trying to put it down type of thing. But he kind of said, look, you've got to be careful in this program and just be careful who you trust. So, you know, from then on, I always knew that Peter kind of had me back.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. It's sometimes difficult to know whether someone, when they're giving you advice, whether it's coming from the right place or not. I mean, obviously he gave you perfect advice. And also what's amazing about that is, you know, you came off your background as an amateur and yet it was tough. And so I think it's also important for other people to see, like, hold up, it's not all a bed of roses. Just because you had a platform to leap off, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I was 2-time Olympian. I had loads of international experience, so that did help with the whole pro thing.
Yeah.
But at the time, after Rio, really, it was still a whole, you know, a big taboo subject. I mean, Eddie only signed Katie, and it was a good couple of years before he even signed anybody else. So really, it's all down to Katie, really, and Claressa over in the States. Without them two, the sport wouldn't be, you know, how it is today.
And also I think that just the influx of the you know, the international amateurs going into the pro scene, that has really, really shaken up the scene, because I think now you can see the difference between levels. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. There was a massive surge of, obviously you know yourself, of international women all turned over at the same time. And this also affected the amateur scene, because then, you know, there was girls that, you know, weren't even in the top 20 in the world when I was about. Then the next thing they're winning, you know, bronze in the world and golds and Commonwealth golds and stuff like that. Whereas the whole 2016 surge, they weren't, like I said, they weren't even in the top 20. So a lot of the good amateurs did turn over at the pros, and all at the same time as well.
Do you think that with this sort of, with you guys moving on into the pro scene, and then, like you say, there were girls that were of a lower standard, then started to medal. Do you think that that's given them a false sense of security? Because, like we say, we've looked at certain standards of certain boxers, and it's like you wouldn't even get an ABA title, to be honest with
you. Maybe not a false sense of security. I think it's just I don't know, maybe improving over time, and because a lot of the top amateurs left to give them a lot of chance to get a lot, especially in tournaments, instead of getting beat in the first round, they were having 3-4 fights, whereas previously they get beaten and that'd be out of the tournament. Whereas because of all the top amateurs that went, they were progressing a lot further in tournaments, and getting more experience as they were going along, maybe.
Yeah, good way of thinking of it, actually. So you've made some statements in your last few fights. What's her name? Goranova you fought, and Ashley Curry. Yeah, two beautiful fights. The Goranova fight, I mean, she was held as being really tough. Do you once you were in the ring with her, do you think that she was as tough as like everyone was making out?
To be honest, going back to the amateur thing, because I'd been around for so long, I've boxed a lot of these pros, so I'd already boxed her as an amateur. And I remember when I boxed her, she actually bit me. She bit me on the shoulder. God. Yeah. So I knew she was crazy. And I remember when I fought her, I remember her getting really frustrated. So I knew that was going to happen as well. So all through the camp, I was thinking, oh, this is going to be a tough fight, though I'm technically better than her.
Yeah.
I know that she's, a little bit crazy.
But she wasn't able to get close to you. What's lovely is your relaxed style. People have said, moaned about the whole low lead hand, but you're able to judge your distance. You're able to keep them sort of guessing as to when you're going to whip that through. I've always loved that jab. Just thinking about, I used to remember you just peppering people.
Yeah.
Peppering people with that jab right through the middle. But yeah, she was having such difficulty getting around because you're working at real long range and still the shots are nice and powerful.
Yeah, definitely. And it was a bit of a tricky one because she was a southpaw, and it was my first southpaw as a pro. But I'm constantly learning. I know that I can't have, sometimes with having, the low lead hand, you've got to always be on the side. You can't stand square on when you've got that lead hand. So, I'm always learning, and fight by fight, I'm picking up little things. And there will be fighters that I come across that, especially fighters my height, where I can't have me hand low.
Yeah.
Because they'll just catch me over the top. So there's only, I'm learning all the time that there's only certain styles that you can get away with that with
certain people.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. And Ashley, she came in sort of quite late. So who was you supposed to box before that?
So originally I was contracted to defend my belt.
Yeah.
Twice, and there's a Savannah. I can't really remember her name, but she's 20-0. So I was meant to fight her for my belt, but there was all humming and ahhing, and at the end I was told she didn't want the fight, but then I seen on BOXED that she was fighting someone else.
Yeah.
In her own town, so obviously that was more attractive to her, to fight in front of her own crowd. So yeah, that never come off.
So once you've sort of got you've taken those two bouts and you've won, has that kind of confirmed or solidified in your mind where you are at now in terms of sort of the top level boxers?
So the thing is, for me, how I judge it is that I get good sparring. I get really competitive sparring. So it is frustrating when these girls are coming in last minute and haven't had the 8-week camp that I've had, because of, like that Brazilian,
Yeah.
And she was blown after about the third round, and I knew she wasn't fit. And she actually messaged me afterwards and said, "Oh, look, do you know, it was my own fault. I wasn't, do you know, I never trained as hard as I could have, whatever." So, but if I sit and think, "Oh, look, these girls aren't, do you know, and do you know, as tough as what they can be," I'll end up putting myself down. So I get really good sparring. So I always go off my sparring, really.
So what I really meant was in terms of like, you know, you're beating up these girls and it's like you're walking through them really. So doesn't that make you think like, do you know what? I'm all right. Although my journey's been slow, I'm up there at the moment.
Well, for me, in the pros, it's the same in every weight. There seem to be 3 or 4 that are world class, and then the rest below that aren't the best, and it's the same in every weight. But what I've learned in the women's professional boxing is that it's not, do you know, so I've had that WBA belt for about 18 months now, which means I'm mandatory for the WBA title, and that doesn't mean anything in women's boxing. Do you know, it doesn't really mean anything being mandatory.
Yeah.
So I think it's all about, do you know, as soon as you get a shot with one of the top ones in the world at world class,
yeah,
do you know, just actually getting that shot's hard, and you can see that with Chantel Cameron. Chantel's mandatory for lightweight and super lightweight. So, and that's been going on for months and months. And in reality, it doesn't mean anything because she's not getting them fights.
I mean, that is soul destroying, absolutely soul destroying, because as you know, I actually expected you, thinking about Chantel, to come out with a smoking jacket like she had on yesterday. Did you not see her, did you? But yeah, it, you know, knowing what a talent, it is frustrating for, you know, maybe the casual fan doesn't understand this, but it's so frustrating as a lover of boxing even, just to see people like you and Chantel, and you having to wait around, and real true talents, and then other people seem to be, you know, just sort of, you know, floating through to the top. It's quite frustrating. And I know that she's been waiting for a couple of really, obviously, I can't say, but you're kind of sitting on the sidelines, and I find that quite frustrating. I find it frustrating because I know how talented you are. I mean, is it just part and parcel of it and there's nothing you can do about it? Because are you seeing it as, okay, are you seeing it as you are a real threat, hence why you're having to wait?
I think so, yeah. And if you haven't got that big promoter behind you, backing you, willing to put the money into you, then you're not going to get anywhere, really.
I mean, that's quite soul destroying to think that. I believe you two will get your chance. I just think it's a matter of time. I don't think everyone can keep avoiding forever, because as you guys are getting better known, people are going to start asking questions, aren't they? And going, well, hold on, why are we not seeing them? So I've had time to reflect over this last couple of weeks, and you know, there's certainly some things that I am going to take out of this isolation period. Is there anything that you have learned about yourself during this time, and what are you going to take from this isolation period?
I've learned that I want to do different things with my life. Well, I knew this anyway, but I've boxed since I was 11-year-old, and it's getting to the point now where I'm going to be 30-year-old still tracing, you know, this dream that might never not happen. So I don't want to rely on that. Do you know, there's other things I enjoy in life, and having this time now, it's made me realise, you know, I think I want to start pursuing other things in my life.
That's interesting, because I was speaking to Kevin Ajaka, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and although he has still aspirations to become a world champion, he himself was saying, you know, and he's got sponsors or had sponsors, doing really well. he was saying the same sort of thing. Okay, I would like to pursue different things and get many streams of income to really sort of make himself secure. Would you like to share with us what sort of things that you're looking at doing or running as a separate career?
So I'm quite interested in. So I'm quite interested in the whole strength work. Just I love strength and conditioning, and that whole, you know, the when you're in fight camp, when you overload your body and when you should come off and certain things like that. So I think I'd like to open my own gym.
I think you'd be really good at that, and I'll tell you why as well, because not only have you been there and done it, like we've just discussed, I think it will sit really comfortably with you that you're kind of in the game but out of the game, if that makes sense.
That's the thing. And that I feel like I've tried every sort of training, and every sort of diet and stuff like that. So please
don't go yet though. You have to get that world title, have that unification with Claressa Shields, and you've got to at least finish the dream.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Well, thanks very much for talking to us. It's really nice to see your little face. Gosh, 30 now. 30.
No, I'm 28. I'm 28, but who knows how long this is going to go on for.
Gosh, I remembered that little young teenager.
Yeah.
Wow. So thanks very much for giving us your time.
Yeah, thanks, Becky.
Yeah, really great to speak to you.
If you like this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber of Shadowboxruk UK, we'd love to see you, so please go ahead and subscribe now.